And we begin tonight at 6 over at the Indiana State House, where state lawmakers are now considering a bill creating a new governing body that would trigger big changes for IPS and charter schools.
The new body would be a board appointed by the mayor of Indianapolis and oversee several aspects of education within Indianapolis public schools. Emily Longnecker listened to hours of testimony from Hoosiers today, some who are in support of the changes, others who had big questions.
Well, one of the biggest concerns we heard today from those who testified was a concern that this law would take away power from an elected school board and give it to an appointed board, a move some argued would take away parents' voices. The proposed board has a name, the Indianapolis Public Education Corporation. The Indianapolis mayor would appoint the 9 members on it. House Bill 1423 that calls for this new body to govern IPS comes from several recommendations made by the Indianapolis Local Education Alliance, or ILEA. Last year, lawmakers passed a law creating ILEA to look at the future of IPS and the schools within it. ILEA came up with several recommendations, including the new board, to oversee school buildings, transportation, and funding for all schools, both public and charter, within IPS boundaries. Part of overseeing funding would include figuring out how property tax revenue is distributed across IPS and charter schools. The recommendation of shifting control to a new board saw pushback Monday from both lawmakers and members of the public.
We have an elected school board with IPS. Why are we creating another layer of government where there is no transparency and it's very difficult to have any accountability?
By creating an appointed board, it will strip parents of their power. And that's not going to strengthen our schools. It will distance families from them.
The bill also calls for a new school performance framework that all schools would be required to follow. Chronically underperforming schools would face closure. Also under the bill, there's a limit on who can authorize new charter schools, something some charter school advocates pushed back on.
If House Bill 1423 truly aims to put Indianapolis students first, restricting authorizers undermines that very goal. I urge you to allow Indianapolis charter schools to retain their autonomy under their chosen authorizer.
Some parents testified in support of the bill, which would create a unified transportation system where all IPS and charter schools would have to provide transportation for students.
Creating a more coordinated transportation system would help ensure students can actually attend the schools that best meet their needs.
So if this bill would pass as is, it would fundamentally really restructure how education is governed in Indianapolis. Now, the House Education Committee, they just heard testimony today, hours of it. They did not take a vote, but stay tuned for more on this proposed bill. It is certainly garnering a lot of discussion here. At the Indiana State House, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett sent us this statement saying in part, quote, "These recommendations only mark the first step in the process of adapting the educational landscape in Indianapolis, which now is heading to the Indiana General Assembly for further consideration." And we break down the bills to watch this upcoming session with the week's episode of Crossroad Politics, a new one every week, and you can watch it tonight on our free streaming app. That's WTHR Plus. If you don't have it yet, well, come join us, get on board. It's available for download on Apple, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV.
Tonight at 6, we're learning new details about a shooting in Greenwood that left 2 people dead and 2 others injured. All of this unfolding at a home on Bent Branch Circle that's near Honey Creek Road and County Road 700 North. The Johnson County coroner tonight is identifying one of the victims as 38-year-old Virender Singh. Police confirmed a 37-year-old man also died in that shooting. They tell us a birthday party was taking place inside the home when an argument led to the shooting.
Tonight, the Marion County Coroner's Office is also identifying the victim in a deadly shooting over the weekend as 39-year-old Vincent Turner. It happened just after 5 o'clock Saturday night on the northwest side of Indy. According to the court documents, a woman said that 2 men got into a fight inside an apartment. That's when the suspect shot Turner. The witness also told detectives that she received threatening texts leading up to the shooting. Police say Turner died at the hospital.
Tonight, the Marion County Jail is now operating over capacity.
The sheriff says the state isn't picking up inmates that are already sentenced to prison, and he told our Ashton Hackman that ICE detainees only add to the problem.
All 2,400 county-funded beds at the Marion County Jail are occupied, but more inmates keep showing up. Recent increases to the county's bail system and shifts in immigration enforcement are keeping more inmates in the jail and for longer. At least 175 inmates are those already sentenced, waiting to be transferred to state prison. Sheriff Kerry Forrestal says DOC is in no rush to move them.
The Department of Corrections needs to take possession of their prisoners. They've been sentenced. They're not being held for court here. They need to be housed in their prisons, not in our county jail.
Forrestal says he's met with ICE officials who've promised to pick up their detainees more often.
We are required to cooperate with ICE, and I have from the beginning. But there's a level of cooperation that you need to follow, which is the holding them for 48 hours, not longer term.
Indiana DOC and ICE did not immediately return our requests for comment. In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
It's now 43 degrees, and here's a beautiful look of downtown Indianapolis as the sun is setting. Brisk and breezy out there today, and it's going to get only more brisk as the days march forward.
Yeah, you know it's going to be an interesting week when you get 50s and snow chances in the forecast, huh?
All in a matter of a couple of days. The 50s come tomorrow. The snow chances get here the day after. It's going to be an active week of weather and cold, too, so we encourage you to take full advantage of the really nice evening we have underway now and the 50s that are in the forecast. In Indianapolis right now, 40. It's hard to pick a favorite. All of our cameras look great right now. 42 Greensburg, 38 Crawfordsville, 37 degrees at Morris Reservoir. Tip-off tonight for our Pacers hosting the Celtics is at 7:30. Come on downtown. Temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s this evening. It will be dry as you come downtown. It'll be dry as you head home or anything that you've got planned tonight and early tomorrow. In fact, temperatures tomorrow afternoon will go from the 30s in the morning into the 40s and 50s. So we'll start the day with coat weather, but we'll end the day more like jacket weather with high temperatures tomorrow afternoon expected in the low 50s, 53 in Indianapolis, 56 in Bloomington tomorrow afternoon. But I'll tell you, the cold air is coming back, and the 6 to 10 day outlook across the eastern half of the country, including central Indiana, is colder than average. I'll have all of those numbers in a few minutes.
All right, Angela, thanks so much. Excitement building. IU and Miami now 1 week away from battling in the college football playoff national championship game, and we're finding new merch for the big game at stores on the south side of Indy.
The Hoosiers and the Hurricanes kick off in Miami Monday night at 7:30.
And today we got a chance to hear from both head coaches ahead of that national championship game.
Indiana's Kurt Cinetti and Miami's Mario Cristobal. Samantha Johnson here live in studio to share what they had to say today. Boy, so much pressure on both of these men. Was it obvious in the press conference today or not?
You know, they seemed calm and cool at this point, still 1 week out. And I will say they had a similar mindset going into this next week, the next few days. Two different programs, of course, two different journeys to get here, but the same message of we can't let this next week overwhelm us. IU's Kurt Cinetti telling us today this week is actually business as usual for the Hoosiers. It's no different than any other week. He called this season surreal. He admitted it. He admitted it's been quite the journey and agreed that it's really become quite the Cinderella story for IU. And when he was asked about how this team is able to pull it off, he says it's about each and every person in that building buying in and believing.
And this team has probably taken the message of how we want to play and put it on the field to a greater extent than any of the other teams we've had.
So the Hoosiers lining up against the Miami Hurricanes 1 week from tonight, led by head coach Mario Cristobal, who actually went to the same Miami high school as Fernando Mendoza. In fact, he played high school ball with Mendoza's dad. And this afternoon, he talked a little bit about that and shared his thoughts on the Miami kid turned Heisman Trophy winner.
The Heisman was earned and well-deserved. The type of season that Fernando has had, really, they dominated just about every game, and anytime a game was close, he was a big reason why the outcome is or was what it was.
And we have seen that week after week, and now the Hoosiers are just one win away from becoming only the second college football team ever to go 16-0 in a single season. So kickoff for the national championship set for Monday night, 7:30 in Miami. Much more to come.
Yeah, and you're going to Miami.
We are. We've been covering the bowl games so far. We're not going to stop now, right? Dom, Eli, Dustin Grove, and I will be in Miami. We're going to have you covered the end of this week through early next week.
What a
We're
great
looking forward to
assignment,
it.
huh?
Yeah, you do such a fantastic job. We're so excited to see the coverage for sure. You know, and what I also love about Fernando, everyone's trying to say it's all about him, he, and he's like, we,
Right.
you know, synergy. I don't even know what synergy means, but synergy. If you saw his post-game interview, you would know that that was a big part of that. All right, thanks, Sam.
Thanks.